There were two main causes that caused the Civil War. The Civil War resulted in 625,000 deaths and a nation that was destroyed. One of the main causes of the Civil War was slavery. The Southern farmers relied on slaves to keep their farms running. The slaves received little to no pay and were treated badly. The North was not in favor for slavery. Abraham Lincoln, President of the Union, did not propose federal laws against slavery where it had already existed. Southerners feared that they were losing control of the federal government due to anti-slavery forces. This happened in the late 1850s, close to when the war began. The second main cause that caused the Civil War was how the North and South had different ideas about how to run the country. Their ideas were both influenced by Thomas Jefferson. The Southerners wanted states' rights, believed that all men are created equal. The first battle began on March 8, 1862. The Confederates attacked Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina. Fort Sumter was a blockade that the North had control over. The Confederates lost their CSS Virginia in the battle, which was a big deal.
Abraham Lincoln was the leader of the Republican Party. They were abolitionists who were for abolishing slavery. The party believed that by confining slavery, it would eventually become extinct. Also, they did not believe in popular sovereignty. John Bell was a leader of the Constitutional Union Party. The party was comprised of the Whig Party and the Know-Nothings. The party blamed major parties for sectional division, and their ideals grew popular in the border states. John Breckinridge was the face of the Southern Democrats. They believed that slaveholders and non-slaveholders should have the same rights. Also, they believed that there could not be free states, but not free territories. They were also associated with Calhoun. Stephen Douglas was the leader of the Northern Democrats. The party didn't want slavery to expand or be excluded under federal authority. They also believed in upholding the Dred Scott federal slave codes for the territories.
There were many Civil War battles, such as Bull's Run, Wilson's Creek and Ball's Bluff, Logan's Crossroads, etc. Among all these battles, there were a couple that if they went the other way, we would not be the way we are today. One of these battles was First Bull Run, or First Manassas. First significant action of the American Civil War. Bull Run shocked the North into realization that it would not be a 3-month war. At the time, Shiloh was both the bloodiest single-day and two-day battle in American history. It served as America's introduction to the total warfare of the rest of the Civil War. Until Ulysses S. Grant's advance down to Tennessee River engagement in the Civil War had been relatively small. The engagement also saw the death of Sidney Albert Johnston, on whom Jefferson Davis had pinned his hopes in the West. The death toll of 23,746 men killed, wounded, or missing brought a shocking realization to both sides the war would not end quickly. 7 Days Retreat. With the success of George McClellan's Peninsula Campaign, Lincoln and Edwin Stanton agreed on closing the recruitment offices in the North. Then Lee replaced Joe Johnston as commander of the Army of the Northern Virginia and excessively pursued the Army of Potomac as it retreated down Virginia's lower peninsula. Lincoln and Stanton had to admit they were wrong and reopened the offices. Gettysburg was won by George Meade, won the largest and most costly battle in American history, fought on the farms and hillsides of the southern Pennsylvania. The Union victory ended Lee's belief that a single massive victory would defeat the Army of the Potomac.
Effects of the Civil War were very tragic because many people died in this war. In the span of the Civil War, over 620,000 men had been killed, and the number of people that had been wounded were about 35 million. For the North, they lost about 364,000 soldiers, which is about one of every 4 soldiers. Also, 37,000 black soldiers died, and some of those deaths were diseases and sickness. The conditions of the sites that the war occurred in were in very bad condition, including Richmond, Charleston, Atlanta, Mobile, and Vicksburg. After the war, over 4 million slaves were freed, and they didn't know what they had in store for them because they were hungry and homeless. Although some stayed in plantations because they knew they could not live up north because they didn't have a job and didn't get paid. And the ones that went north didn't have anything when they were freed. That's where the Freedmen's Bureau came in and helped people who didn't have anything and provided them with the stuff they needed. The war was dangerous because it affected many people in all sorts of ways. The war affected somebody in some kind of way. It even affected people when they didn't expect it to. Some people don't think it was the right way to solve things, and others do.